Wednesday, August 22, 2012. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and this is my 1995 Subaru Legacy project. This is going to be a video on replacing the water pump in a 1995 Subaru Legacy with a 2.2 engine. From experience, I know the procedure is identical for a 1.8 liter Impreza, the earlier ones that is. And procedures may differ for later Legacies with the 2.5 dual cam engines, so use this information at your own risk. Now, you can see I already have the radiator out and the timing belt off, both of which are basically necessary for this job. So if you need to learn how to do that, I have a video on taking out the radiator and taking off the timing belt, or on timing belt replacement. So I'm going to get to this now. The first thing I need to do is actually remove the bypass hose. So I have to get under the car to do that. And once the hose is detached, you can just unbolt the water pump from the engine block. I have the water pump out now. I just wanted to show you the bolt holes so you know where to look for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this here is actually where the timing belt sprocket bolts onto. There's one more thing you need to do. You need to take off this plastic elbow piece here at the bottom, because this is going to attach to the new water pump with the new thermostat. So I'm going to take the two bolts out here at the bottom, and then I'll prep the new water pump for installation. Okay, I have the new water pump here, and I'm going to prep it for installation. I noticed that the old water pump was actually a factory water pump, and I'm going to guess probably original to the car. I spun the impeller. It didn't make any noise, but who knows if it's going to last, through another timing belt change. So now I'm going to install the new thermostat. Once again, I didn't notice any sealant on the old one, but I'm going to use a little bit of, gray RTV, just a paper thin layer around this. I always do this on the anytime I'm working on cooling system gaskets, and once again, use it very sparingly. You can see I'm going to spread it around nice and thin. So there it is. It really is almost a paper thin layer. You don't need gobs of it, especially since I don't think there was any on there originally. So the thermostat actually gets installed spring side into the pump, like that. And then you take the elbow, and you should wipe it down, clean it down a little bit, and then it gets bolted on like so, with the outlet of the elbow facing in the same direction as this outlet right here. I have the thermostat housing bolts tightened now. Those only go to 48 to 60 inch-pounds. Not really a lot of torque on those. So now I'm going to prep the water pump gasket. The old one came off, was a factory gasket, looked perfectly dry. But once again, this is a gasket that I tend to use just a paper-thin layer of RTV silicone on. And once you have the gasket prepped and you've wiped down the surface of the engine block, you can then insert the pump to the engine block and start threading in the bolts. At this point, I find it helpful just to thread in 1 or 2 bolts, just hand tight, not even hand tight, just finger tighten the bolts, just to help align everything. I've noticed, especially with these aftermarket pumps, that sometimes it's not the easiest to get them perfectly aligned. So just get a bolt or 2 in, kind of loose, and then work on the others. Also, I do recommend some anti-seize compound on these, since they're important bolts and they do go into the block. And I've never had any problem using it before. I have them all hand threaded in now, and it was actually surprisingly easy. So now you have to torque down the bolts, and those only go to 7 to 10 foot-pounds. There's really not a lot of torque on them. And once the water pump bolts are torqued, all you have to do is reinstall the bypass hose, which goes here And that's all there is to replacing the water pump. So obviously you're not done with the job. At this point the timing belt has to go on and the radiator has to go back in, so I'm going to refer you to my other two videos on that. So thanks for watching.